Well, hello and welcome to Villa Park, where Jordan Nobbs has been presented with a shirt showing 193, a record number of WSL appearances. She reached that figure, of course, last week against Brighton and makes appearance 194 today, on a day when Aston Villa and Leicester City are both seeking their first WSL win of the season. They both appointed new managers in the summer, with Dutchman Robert de Pauw taking charge at Aston Villa and Frenchwoman Amandine Miquel arriving at Leicester. But so far, they've both found the going tough in the WSL, just 1 point each from the first 3 games. And given that the only other 2 teams in the division yet to win, Everton and West Ham, are about to kick off against each other on Merseyside at the same time as this game, this could be a pivotal day at the foot of the WSL table. And Jordan Nobbs will be using all of that experience at the end of that Villa line as Sophie Howard brings the Leicester team through, shaking hands. Sophie Howard, also a very experienced player, the Villa captain. Rachel Daly, of course, the Villa captain rather. Sophie Howard, the Leicester captain. And that Villa team has been pretty much unchanged all season. Before today, Robert de Pauw had made just the 1 change from his 3 starting lineups. Well, there are 2 changes in the Villa starting lineup this afternoon. One of them enforced because, of course, we knew that Paula Thomas was banned after that red card. A 3-game ban. She begins today. She's replaced by Dan Turner. But the headline news is there is a WSL debut for the club record £250,000 summer signing, Gavi Nunes. Villa have been really careful not to rush the 27-year-old Brazil international into top flight action, given her torrid time with knee injuries, but she starts today. Leicester, they make 4 changes, 2 at the back, as Seri Keys has handed her WSL debut, and Courtney Nevin also starts. The pair in for Julie Thibault and Janice Kyman, who are among the subs. And the Foxes are without their only WSL goal scorer this season, Jutta Rantala. She's replaced by Yuka Mamiki, and there's a first start for Shanna Chaussonot, who comes in for fellow France age group striker Noémie Mouchon. So Amandine Miquel ringing the changes for Leicester as they seek to try and get among the goals. Just a 1 to show from their first 3 games. Aston Villa, a bit of a better start. Like Leicester, only 1 point, but they have scored 4 goals, 3 of them from Rachel Daly. No one's got more than that coming into this match day 4 of the WSL season. She got her 100th career club goal in all competitions last weekend with that brace against Brighton. If she's on target today, Rachel Daly, the Villa captain, it will be her 50th Aston Villa goal in all competitions. And how Sophie Howard will be determined to make sure that doesn't happen. That Villa backline has been fairly tight. The first 2 games, a 1-1 draw at Liverpool, then a creditable 1-0 home defeat to Arsenal. But that 2-0 defeat here last weekend, a real blow to Crystal Palace, the newly promoted side. Crystal Palace getting a win on the board before either of these 2 teams, who take the knee to highlight no room for racism in football or society. And Leicester get us off and underway. Howard, the captain, across to her new centre-back partner this afternoon, Keys, in for Julie Thibault, who had started the first 3 games, but is on the bench today, Thibault. Kirsty Hansen, who has started all 4 games, as have so many of this Villa team. A very settled starting 11 under de Pauw, and Hansen wins the first free kick of the afternoon. Leicester have never beaten Villa in the WSL. 6 played so far, 5 Villa wins and a draw. 2-2 draw back in March, the best Leicester have ever managed against Villa after 5 successive defeats. Parker had to be sure with the foot there as Chaussonot tried to wriggle beyond her. The Villa lineup in full, D'Angelo in goal, the summer signing from Arsenal. A back 3 of Moritz, Patton and Parker. 4 in midfield, Grant, Nobbs, Kearns and Turner, and up top Gabby Nunes on her WSL debut, Rachel Daly the captain, and Kirsty Hansen. Villa looking to make an early breakthrough. Chastity Grant with the pullback, and it almost found its way through to Nunes, but Leicester scrambled it away. The Leicester starting 11, Leipzig in goal, CJ Bott, Sophie Howard the captain, Sari Keys and Courtney Nev in the back four. A midfield three of Sam Tierney, Ruby Mace and Saudi Takarada, and up top Shana Shosanot on her WSL full debut, Yuka Mamiki and Missy Goodwin. Here come Villa again. Moritz to Grant. Missy Goodwin, of course, a former Villa player. Anna Patton with a protective face mask, which she's worn ever since catching a stray elbow in the face during pre-season. The Villa number 4, who's on the ball now. Republic of Ireland international, switched allegiance from England back in the spring of this year. CJ Bott with the throw-in for Leicester, the New Zealand international. And she's given it away. And it's seized upon by Nunes. Lovely ball from Gabby Nunes to Daly. Villa having the greater share of the ball in these very early stages. Nobbs to Parker. Parker threads it through to Grant, but as she attempted to turn and spray it out to the flanks, Leicester won it back. Aston Villa started with that pretty decent performance on the opening day, the Friday night, first day of the season, going down in the end just 1-0 to Chelsea, the champions. Johanna Rytting-Kaneryd with a sensational goal that evening. As Goodwin looks to win it back off of Parker, and Parker is forced back towards her own goal line. And Goodwin did really well there. Nobbs and Parker trying to work Villa out of trouble. And Nobbs will now bring the ball away. Then came a 2-2 draw with Tottenham when Villa was so close to the 3 points before Beth England's equaliser late in injury time. Here's Hansen for Villa. And she's won a throw. And then last week that 4-2 defeat at Brighton when Rachel Daly got them off to a wonder start just 13 minutes in, but Brighton equalised within 60 seconds and went on to win that comfortably. Paola Thomas's red card rubbing salt into the wounds. Brighton also had Poppy Pattinson sent off late on. But that's how we reach where we are now, match day 4, both these teams with just a point on the board. Every team does have at least a point. West Ham and Everton too, also on 1 point. Here comes Grant for Villa. Oh, and it's a brilliant tackle to flick it behind for a corner from Takarada. Well, it looked like Grant had the beating of Takarada, but she did so well to stay on her feet and time the challenge to perfection. But Villa have a corner, which Hansen will take. And the medical staff are on to just check on Sophie Howard, the Leicester captain, who's holding her left ankle. Well, the Leicester lineup: Leipzig in goal, Bott, Howard, Keys and Nevin across the back line, Tierney, Takarada, We think probably holding midfielders with Shosanot, Mamiki and Goodwin supporting Ruby Mace perhaps up top. So perhaps a slightly different formation from we were expecting. Well, Julie Thibault is warming up on the touchline just in case this early knock to Sophie Howard forces her out of the fray. She's moving with not too much difficulty, but Julie Thibault was instructed to come out and warm up just in case. Hanson with the early corner for Aston Villa. It's an in-swinger and it's headed away by Bott. And brought out of the air by Dan Turner on her first WSL start of the season, but she tried to rotate and swing it back into the danger zone, but could only knock it out of play. And Sophie Howard rejoins the action. So Amandine Mikel, the Leicester boss, won't be forced into an early change. Nobbs with the header, but it's picked up in midfield by Takarada, who finds a compatriot Mamiki, who is fouled by Nobbs. Free kick to Leicester. Ruby Mace is having to put her shin pad back in. Referee Steve Martin halting play while that happens, but back underway now. Goodwin was never going to be able to keep in that one from Howard. Too much pace on it. Daly. Buzz around Villa Park whenever she's on the ball. Rachel Daly. And Moritz commits the foul on Takarada. Villa with 4 of their summer signings in the starting 11 this afternoon. The goalkeeper Sabrina D'Angelo, who arrived from Arsenal. Chastity Grant from Ajax. Missy Kearns, the somewhat surprise signing in midfield from Liverpool. And this WSL debut for Gabby Nunes, the £250,000 arrival from Levante. And it's Kirsty Hansen on the ball, and Nunes is calling for it. A brave defending from Howard, who was under real pressure from Nunes, but stood firm and strong to get to the ball first. Well, Gabby Nunes did play in the League Cup 11 days ago in the 2-0 win over Crystal Palace, the only win of the season for Villa. Played the first half of that game, but Robert DePaul has repeatedly said they've got to be careful with Gabby Nunes. 3 serious knee injuries she's had in her career. Obviously played in the summer too for Brazil in the Olympics, winning the silver medal. Didn't play in the final, but did score in the opening match against Nigeria, the winner, and she said at the time that felt like a miracle. She described herself as a miracle, saying she felt many times she might never play again, and helping Brazil go on to win that silver, losing to Emma Hayes' USA 1-0 in the final in Paris. So Gabby Nunes in action in the summer, and Robert DePaul insistent they're going to take their time and take care over the minutes she gets, certainly in this early part of her Aston Villa career. Here's Hansen again in space down the left-hand channel. Still Kirsty Hansen. It's not the greatest pass from Kirsty Hansen. She had options, was unable to pick out a teammate. Last weekend she picked out Rachel Daly expertly with that low ball for the opening goal down at the Broadfield Stadium. So often a source of danger for Aston Villa is Kirsty Hansen, but not on that occasion. Kearns with the rather loose pass too, but it is brought down well by Grant. Villa certainly the quicker into their stride in this West Midlands v East Midlands derby at Villa Park. Leipzig launches it. Picks up on the far side by Goodwin and knocked inside to Takarada. Finds Mimiki, lovely ball from Mimiki out to Mace. Mace plays it back to Goodwin, inside to Tierney. He's played more Leicester games than any other player. Howard Takarada. This is a nice little spell from Leicester, but it is won back by Kearns. That's the best we've seen from Leicester, though, managing to hold on to the ball. That's the sort of football Mikel says she wants. She says she's not expecting them to play like Barcelona every week, but she wants to follow in that kind of format, that kind of possession-based football. She's going to need time, as is Robert DePauw at Villa. Both these clubs went on extensive, thorough searches for their new managers. And while they would have loved to see them hit the ground with winning results, that hasn't happened. Both of them saying they knew that the WSL was going to be a really tough division to crack, despite the comparative success they'd had in, well, France for Mikel, Netherlands and Germany. And here is Hansen. Can Hansen get the shot away? She almost squirmed it through to Nunes. Well, Hansen is the outlet, the danger woman in these early stages, and Bott did really well to hold her off and prevent her finding the room to pick out a teammate. Robert DePauw arriving at Villa after 2 years at Bayer Leverkusen in Germany. Before that, he had won the league and cup double in the Netherlands, his home country, with FC Twente. And Amandine Mikel arriving at Leicester after 7 years with Stade de Reims. Took them to 4 French Cup quarter-finals, having initially brought them up to the top flight, and most recently guided them to 4th place, highly creditable 4th place finish. But both of them under no illusions that this is a step up. Mace. And it almost finds its way back to Mace, but it's given away. Picks up by Patton. Patton forces it beyond Goodwin, and it's out for a Leicester throw. Two players following Mikel to Leicester. Shanna Chaussonot, who has her first WSL start this afternoon. France under-20 striker. Scored in the League Cup against Bristol City 11 days ago rather. Finished in a 1-1 draw that match. And the Championship outfit, Bristol City, took the bonus point on the penalty shootouts. And Noémie Mouchon also signing for Leicester this summer from Mikel's former club. She's on the bench this afternoon, having started the opening 3 games. Mace, who's back with Leicester now permanently, having spent the season before last on loan from Manchester City. Lovely ball from Mace through to Goodwin. Mace, who it was guilty of giving away that penalty to Crystal Palace last weekend, when Annabelle Blanchard followed up a superbly taken first goal with a successful penalty kick. Final score 2-0 to Crystal Palace at the King Power last weekend. Blanchard with both the goals. Shock results in many ways. Crystal Palace having lost their opening 2 games, 4-0 to Tottenham and 7-0 to Chelsea. but played really well against Leicester last weekend. Parker over the top, and Grant shows a real burst of pace. Can Grant pick out Nunes? It's knocked behind by Goodwin. Well, that was an explosive jet-heeled turn of pace from Chastity Grant, and Villa have another corner. Hansen again with the in-swinger. Headed away by Takarada. Back to Knobs to have a shot, and it's straight at Leipzig. Well, Knobs was celebrated before kick-off. Actually, almost. It's the closest either side have come. But the shot was straight down the middle of the goal. She has scored 58 WSL goals during her illustrious career as Knobs. Played in that very first WSL game way back in April 2011 as Kearns gives away a free kick here for a foul on Goodwin. And she goes into the book. First booking of the afternoon. Steve Martin, the referee, shows Missy Bo Kearns the yellow card for that foul on Missy Goodwin. On foul by Missy Bo Kearns, rather, as she picks up the yellow card for that foul on Missy Goodwin. And Mace with the free kick in. It's a deep one towards Howard, and D'Angelo couldn't grab it at the first time of asking, but it's their second time round. Steve Martin just comes across to check on her. And play restarts with a drop ball. Parker knocks one over the top. Grant did really well with the header towards Nunes. Comes back towards Gabby Nunes. Mace. Lovely long searching ball from Mace towards Goodwin, but Parker gets there first. Good defending by Lucy Parker. D'Angelo. Jordan Nobbs overtaking Sophie Ingles' record of 192 WSL appearances with a 193rd last weekend. That's why she was handed that shirt with 193 on it before kickoff. She's making her 194th this afternoon. Would have been even more but for that long spell out with an ACL in 2018 in the run-up to the 2019 World Cup that she had to miss. Of course, Sophie Ingle herself unable to add to any performances at the moment because of her own ACL injury. We wish her all the very best, the Chelsea midfielder. But with Jordan Nobbs being a regular starter in this Villa side, it can only be a matter of weeks, you'd imagine, until she clocks up the 200th WSL appearance. She talked this week about writing down the way that Robert De Pauw had described her as a little Modric. She was so proud of that comparison. And here she is, the little Modric. Slips it through to Daly. And Howard does so well to get there first. Get a vital touch on it. It's another Villa corner. But Nobbs almost sending Rachel Daly through on goal there. Almost exactly midway through the first half. Kirsty Hansen with another corner for Villa. She's tried to swing the first two in right on top of Janina Leitzig. Similar this time. Leitzig does well to claim the German goalkeeper. But it's not great distribution from her. Straight to Nobbs. Kearns tries to pick out Daly. Keith, who was a little bit lucky there to get the ball beyond Hansen to Goodwin. Sari Keith joined from Leuven, the Belgian international, this summer. Making her WSL debut this afternoon at the heart of the Leicester defence alongside Sophie Howard. Out of play from Takarada for a Villa throw. Comes off Chaussonot and out for another Villa throw-in. Robert DePau on the edge of his technical area on the right side of the screen. Amandine Mikel right in the corner of hers on the far left of the screen. Noel Maritz, former Arsenal player. Big year ahead for her, the Switzerland international, who's about to take the throw-in for Villa. Switzerland, of course, hosting Euro 2025 next summer. She will hope to be in the squad for that. Switzerland have a friendly against England at the end of this year at Bramall Lane, early December. Patton goes long, and Grant did really well to bring it down. But Bott didn't give her a spare inch and was able to win the ball back and knock it out of play for the Villa throw. Now it's with Kearns. Nobbs. Parker takes it beyond Goodwin. And it's another throw for Villa. Again, Maritz will take. Short this time to Nobbs. Maritz back to Parker, across to Patton. Takarada strongest in the tackle there to win it back for Leicester. Chaussonot. Still Shanna Chaussonot. Lovely ball by her to Bott. Bott gets the shot away and it's well over the bar. Probably worth an effort because she had the space to turn, but got too much under the ball and it just floated high over the crossbar and hit the support holding up the netting at the back of the goal. Grant. Pattern to Parker. Parker goes long in search of Daly. Can Daly keep it in? She does, but is only able to win the throw. Villa not afraid to use that long ball. They can hurt you in different ways. Certainly mix it up a bit. They have done in this approaching opening half hour. Now for the cross in, and it's punched away by Leipzig. Lovely ball by Patton. Now it's with Nobbs. Daly with the left-footed cross, and Leipzig is there once more, but can't hold on to it. The whistle's gone though. Referee Steve Martin says the Leicester goalkeeper was fouled as she came to collect that Daly cross. Chastity Grant went flying in and did indeed catch the Leicester goalkeeper. So it is a free kick. Howard was there to clear it off the line anyway, and the medical staff are on to look at both Leipzig and Chastity Grant. And the players take the opportunity for a drinks break. Amadine Mikel with a chance to speak to her Leicester team. And Robert DePau and his coaching team having a chat with the Villa players. Jordan Nobbs, Rachel Daly comes across, Gabby Nunes and Noelle Maritz, the number 16. Robert DePau trying to avoid the unwanted stats of becoming the first Aston Villa manager to fail to win any of his opening 4 WSL games. Leipzig is okay. CJ Bott, who sees it back from Tierney, and now it's with Takarada. Mamiki has Mace ahead of her but can't find her, as Lucy Parker does really well. And it's out for a Villa goal kick. Lucy Parker just hobbling after making that challenge, and now down on her haunches, holding her left ankle. She climbs back to her feet. Leicester without a WSL win since February. Played 12 games in the WSL since then. Last win was a 5-2 win against Bristol City back on the 18th of February. Mamiki launches it out towards Goodwin. Too much on the ball. So that 5-2 win against Bristol City was 12 games ago. They've played 11 in the WSL since then, have Leicester, drawing 3, losing 8 of them. The last win in any competition was the FA Cup quarter-final. 2-0 win at Liverpool back at the start of March. And they weren't far away, were they, from a place at Wembley? They were 1-0 up away to Tottenham in the semi-final, with 7 minutes to go before Jess Naz got the equaliser to take the tie to extra time. Martha Thomas with the very late winner in extra time, denying Leicester a place at Wembley in what would have been a first ever FA Cup final for them against Manchester United. United went on to win that final 4-0 against Tottenham. Here's Nobbs for Villa, and a foul on Grant, who also recovered from that earlier collision with Leipzig and wins Villa a free kick. And there is a yellow card being shown to Courtney Nevin. So Missy Beaucairns, who herself went into the book a little earlier for a foul on Missy Goodwin, with the free kick for Aston Villa in a really dangerous position. And it comes from Cairns low. Cleared as far as Nobbs, who hooks it back in, headed away by Nevin, who was booked for that foul on Cairns. Here's Kirsty Hansen. Hansen does really well to get the cross in. Takarada with the clearance for Leicester. Villa continuing to dominate possession and look the more dangerous of the two teams here at Villa Park. Live coverage of the Barclays WSL season 2024-25 continues here on YouTube. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content. There's plenty of it, not just on match day but throughout the season. Patton's lost her footing and unfairly, says referee Steve Martin. Chaussonot is penalised for the foul. Free kick to Villa. Cairns. Hansen. Patton through the middle to Grant. Leicester win it back. Mamiki sweeps it out to Chaussonot. And Chaussonot gives the ball away as it's won back by Daly. Turner, former Everton player, starting this afternoon in place of Paola Thomas, the Spain international left back, who was red carded while giving away that penalty last week. And it's a long shot from Mace that was never going to trouble D'Angelo. She saw the keeper off her line and tried a very ambitious long range effort, did Ruby Mace. Paola Thomas beginning a 3-game ban this afternoon. Villa did appeal it, but that appeal was turned down, and she will miss after this game the trip to Manchester City next weekend and then the home match with Liverpool after the international break. Here's Hansen, who's looked like the most dangerous player from either team in the opening exchanges. Maritz back to Nobbs. Cairns. Patton tries to launch it over the top. Leicester feeling like their best option is to try and catch Villa on the counter. Cairns from distance. Missy Beaucairns again too close to Leipzig. Missy Beaucairns arriving here in the summer from Liverpool. Liverpool through and through. Played a key part in their championship promotion season and a WSL regular. Bit of a surprise to see her leave her home city club for Aston Villa. She has started all 4 WSL games for Villa this season, as Daly is surely knocked down by Mamiki. That's Takarada, rather, who knocks Daly over, and it is a free kick for Aston Villa in almost the perfect position. Almost exactly 25 yards out, centre of goal. Just about far enough out to get the ball up and down again. Well, in fact, it's a little bit closer than I thought. 22 yards out. Maybe doesn't give Missy Beaucaires quite as much opportunity to get that up and over, but still a very dangerous position from which Missy Beaucaires will attempt to score her first goal in claret and blue. Here she goes, and it doesn't beat the wall, which stands its ground. Drops to Grant. Daly whips it in, it's headed down, and well, in fact, it's well wide in the end. Daly hits those crosses so well, and it was Patton who climbed highest. She climbed really well. Appears to have caught Chaussonot in the process. Patton herself wearing a face mask, which probably won't have helped. Players often talk about how uncomfortable it is to wear those, and doesn't help with the peripheral vision. Dan Turner out of shot back in the Villa starting lineup this afternoon. In fact, that Villa back line, the four of them, given the enforced change, have played really well in this opening 38 minutes. On the rare moments that Leicester have looked to trouble them, they've held their shape really well. And it is Villa, despite the 0-0 scoreline, who are largely in control of this game, as Grant strays offside here. Howard to Botts. Botts' attempted pass to Chaussonot goes all the way through to Patton. Patton to Hansen. Hansen brought it down really well. Lays it off to Nunez, who tried to play it through the middle to Grant. Leicester win it back. Now with Mace. Short ball to Chaussonot. She showed too much of it to Turner. Bot to Howard. Into the final 5 plus added time. Free kick given in Leicester's favour. And it's another free kick to Leicester, which Tierney takes, rolls it back to Howard. Howard to Botts. Chaussonot has space to run into here. But D'Angelo did really well to time her run towards the edge of the area and get the tackle in, but Chaussonot has gone down hurt, and referee Steve Martin comes across to check on the 19-year-old French player. Well, that's the closest Leicester have come to what appears to be their game plan this afternoon, catching Villa on the counter. Chaussonot has the pace to do so. She does already have her first Leicester goal in the League Cup, but this a first WSL start. And this the ball through, and she stayed on side, and D'Angelo did so well to get there just in time, got the ball first. May have caught Chaussonot on the follow through, or just the impact of the ball between the feet of the two players, causing Chaussonot to tumble and in a bit of pain. And the game was stopped by referee Steve Martin to assess the injuries of the summer signing from Leicester manager Amady Mikel's former club, Stade de Reims. Play is back underway with a drop ball to D'Angelo. Cairns, long ball through the middle, all the way through to Leipzig. Tierney turns and pushes it back to Howard. Chaussonot back and running freely. Long ball out in the direction of Goodwin. Goodwin tries to find the space for a shot, and the offside flag is up. So a dangerous possibility comes to nothing for Leicester into the final minute plus added time in this first half at Villa Park. A first half which has looked really like a match between two early season strugglers. Villa the more confident in their approach. You would expect that as the home team, particularly here in front of a big crowd at Villa Park. And Grant was held back. Yellow card shown to Sari Keys for the foul. So she joins Courtney Nevin in the book. Villa have got two of their back. Leicester have got two of their back four on yellow cards now. 3 minutes of added time at the end of this half. Nobbs with the free kick for Villa. Doesn't get the required distance, but has a second attempt. Can she do that? So this time, almost finds its way through to Patton, who does really well to keep it in, but Bott turns first. As Steve Martin halts play anyway for an offside. Two minutes of added time remaining. Free kick to Leicester. flicked over the top for Goodwin to give shape as she is hauled down by Noelle Maritz, who becomes the fourth player of the half to go into the book. 2 players apiece. Missy Beaucairns and now Noelle Maritz in the book for Aston Villa. Nevin with the free kick for Leicester. Almost found its way through to Howard. Villa clear. And it's launched back in once more. Goodwin climbs, but Grant brings it away for Villa and finds Nobbs. Is there time for one last Villa chance? They need to get it forward quickly. It's back with Nobbs. Patton. Maritz. And Steve Martin blows the half-time whistle. It's been pretty cagey. 2 teams still searching for their first WSL win of the season. Leicester have only scored 1 goal this season. There hasn't been much sign of them adding to that this afternoon. Villa have had a little better, but the teams head into the dressing rooms 0-0 at half-time. Let's look at the rare few moments of promise from that first half. Villa with the greater share of them. Great tackle this by Takarada on Chastity Grant. Nobbs on the afternoon of her 194th WSL appearance with the shot. Grant was penalised for the foul there on Leipzig as she tried to get on the end of Daly's cross. Missy Beaucairns also from distance, close to Leipzig, close and comfortable. Do join us again for the second half. A crucial afternoon this for 2 teams at the wrong end of the WSL table, both hoping for a first league win of the season this afternoon. Half-time at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Leicester City 0. Welcome back to Villa Park, where you can see Kenza Dali is about to come on for Aston Villa, and Asmita Ale, a former Villa player, is coming on for Leicester. She's replacing CJ Bott. Is Asmita Ale. And Kenza Dali is on for Gabby Nunez, who made a WSL debut this afternoon with a start. The club record £250,000 signing, the Brazil international arriving from Levante, but she's lasted only 45 minutes, as she did in the League Cup the midweek before last, and she is replaced by Kenza Dali. So Dali on for Gabby Nunez, and Asmita Ale on for CJ Bott. Both teams making a change at the break. 0-0 we are as we prepare to start the second half. Villa with the greater possession, the greater chances, but not an awful lot to get excited about in that first half. A first half between 2 struggling teams, 2 teams searching for their first WSL win of the season here on match day 4, both with just a point to show from their opening 3 games. Rachel Daly gets the second half underway. Rachel Daly, so often the thorn in Leicester's side. 5 goals in 4 games against them for Aston Villa. She has scored in all 4 games. 5 goals and 1 assist, in fact, in those 4. Confirmation of the half-time substitutions. Gabby Nunez off, Kenza Dali on for Villa. Leicester on the attack here, replacing CJ Bott with Asmita Ale in the back line. Asmita Ale, who was with Villa from the age of 8, started her senior career here. Leicester didn't have many chances in the first half. Can they have the first of the second half? It's with Mace. It deflects, and Villa scramble it clear. But in the first half, it was purely a case of Leicester looking to catch Villa on the break. They've started this second half with much more intent, albeit we're only a minute in. Keys on her WSL debut, the number 22. She was booked in the first half, as was Courtney Nevin of Leicester. Ale to Shosanot. Almost dropped at the feet of Yamiki, but in the end it came through to Goodwin and her shot was blocked. I mentioned the two Leicester players who were booked. Also 2 Villa players went into the book in the first half, Missy Bo-Kearns and Noel Maritz. And there is a free kick here for the foul on Shosanot, the 19-year-old France age group international. Courtney Nevin, the Australia international, is going to take it. Nevin whips it in. Tierney climbs but couldn't get there. Shosanot heads it back into the danger zone. Villa clear. Takarada to Mamiki. Well, I would say the opening 2.5 minutes of this second half is the longest spell that Leicester have held onto the ball in this match. It's not an exaggeration to say that. They were content to sit off Villa in the first half, but it looks perhaps like a change of approach from Amandine Mikel's Foxes in this second period. Both managers under a little bit of pressure, if we can say that, 4 games in or 3.5 games in. But you can't afford to go too many games without getting a first win on the board in the WSL. Such a short season, of course, with 12 teams. Bristol City went down with just 6 points last season. In the years when there has been as many as 12 teams in the top flight, which has been the case since 2019-20 consecutively, 12 points has usually been enough to stay up. These teams have 1 on the board from the opening 9 available. They're either going to both get 1 more this afternoon, or one of them's going to get 3. It looks more likely to be Villa in that first half, but Leicester have started pretty well in this second period. Keys back to Leipzig. Neither keeper really troubled in that first half. Leipzig had to stop long-range efforts from Nobbs and Kearns. Villa having brought on Kenza Dali at the break. They also have other attacking options still on the bench. Ebony Salmon, Adriana Leon, Katie Robinson. Leicester with fewer attacking options, really. Deanne Rose, the Canada international winger, is on the bench this afternoon as Turner sweeps it back to D'Angelo. Also, Noemi Mouchon, the summer signing, who had started all 3 WSL games before today. 21-year-old France age group international, former Stade de Reims teammate of Shanna Shosanot, who is in the starting lineup this afternoon. Both of them arriving under their former manager Amandine Mikel this summer. Patton wearing that protective face mask since sustaining a facial injury in pre-season in a friendly. Keys back to Leipzig. Well, this has been a danger period in the game for Leicester, really. In all 3 WSL matches, in the 1-1 draw with Liverpool on the opening weekend, they conceded right on the stroke of half-time. And in the 2 games since, they've gone behind in the 55th minute to Arsenal, went on to lose that game 1-0, And then last weekend against Crystal Palace went on to lose that game 2-0. Parker to Daly, inside to Nobbs, back to Parker, rolls it across to Patton. Turner was a little lax in the touch. Ale, the half-time substitute for Leicester, joined Villa when she was just 8, began her senior career with the club. Went on to make 32 championship appearances across 3 seasons and helped them win promotion at the end of 2019-20 to the WSL, in which she made 18 appearances for the Villains in 2021-22 before joining Tottenham. Joined Leicester on loan from Spurs back in January, and that switch became permanent this summer. This her first WSL appearance for Leicester of this season, having played last term, of course, on loan. Parker drives forward for Villa. Maritz finds Grant, and Nevin ushers her out of play. Villa throw, which Maritz looks to take quickly. To Nobbs, back to her former Arsenal teammate. Darley will be chomping at the bit, having been kept on the bench from the start. Oh, and Leipzig's dropped it, almost falls to Maritz, and the German goalkeeper drops on it safely in the end. Injured at the start of the season was Leipzig. Lisa Kopp, who's on the bench this afternoon. The Dutch woman started the opening 2 WSL matches. Leipzig came in for the League Cup 1-1 draw with Bristol City, which they lost on penalties. Took the point from the group match, but lost out on the bonus point, which you get in the League Cup. And Leipzig kept her place for that Palace game last weekend and this afternoon. She did, in fact, save 3 penalties in that Bristol City shootout, albeit Bristol City won the shootout. Goodwin. Tierney. Takarada surges down the middle and finds Chaussonot. Mace is looking for space in the centre, still Chaussonot. Chaussonot tries to take it beyond Turner, does well, gets the cross in, and Turner taps it out of play for the Leicester corner. Leicester definitely playing with more intent in this second half. Talking of more attacking intent, Amandine Mikel appears to be getting Deanne Rose, Canada international winger, ready to come on. Leicester's corner, headed away by Patton. Mace. Crossed all the way through to Howard with the header down and into the side netting. That is pretty much the closest Leicester have come deep cross from Nevin. And Howard found the space, backs off of Parker, climbs so well and headed down, but into the wrong side of the side netting from a Leicester perspective. Darley and Daly, the flag is up. And there is going to be a change for Leicester. It is going to be Deanne Rose on for Shanna Chaussonot. So the summer signing, 19-year-old French woman Shanna Chaussonot departs, and Deanne Rose is on, as she has come on in all three previous WSL matches this season. Olympic gold medalist for Canada at the Tokyo Games, the COVID-delayed Tokyo Games back in 2021. Deanne Rose. Goodwin. Out to Rose. First touch for Rose. Rose driving at the Villa defence. Drops to Takarada. Rose signed last summer, of course, after Reading's relegation. A spell at Reading disrupted by a serious injury. Goodwin to Mace. Mace flicks it over the top, or attempts to, but it comes up off the back of Nobbs. And the danger is snuffed out. So Deanne Rose now up against her Canada international teammate, the Villa goalkeeper, Sabrina D'Angelo. Takarada wins it back unfairly off of Darley, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa. Hansen wins the throw. Shoulder barge on Ale, which Steve Martin, the referee, says was fair. Daly looking to keep up her extraordinary record. Cross in, is flicked across goal. Villa's most dangerous moment of the second half. Nobbs back to Parker. Darley gives it away. Leicester look to break. This was their game plan in the first half. They played much more possession-based football in the second half. Darley. But it's to Nobbs. Cairns. Villa getting ready for a treble change. Darley over the top, just too high for Daly. Keys to Howard. Tierney is fouled by Darley as Steve Martin signals for the substitutions. Staniforth is on for Cairns. Lucy Robinson and Adriana Leon also coming on. So Leon replaces Chastity Grant. Kirsty Hansen is replaced by Katie Robinson. So often an England squad member in her Brighton days, signing this summer for Villa. Adriana Leon, another Canada international. So we have 3 on the pitch now. 2 for Villa, the goalkeeper D'Angelo and Adriana Leon. And Deanne Rose of Leicester, who came on at half-time. So Villa have made 4 of their changes. Darley also having come on at half-time for Gabby Nunes. And just moments ago, Lucy Staniforth, Katie Robinson and Adriana Leon replacing Missy Beaucairns, Kirsty Hansen and Chastity Grant. Here's Nevin for Leicester. Leon, incidentally, is the only Villa player other than Rachel Daly to have scored in the WSL this season. Daly on target 3 times. 1 from the penalty spot against Brighton. And Leon on target in that 2-2 draw with Tottenham on match day 2. She's been called off the bench now in all 4 games as Adriana Leon. Former West Ham player, former Manchester United player, of course, Adriana Leon. Staniforth tries to play it through to Darley. Robinson. Goodwin looks to get on the end of that one, but Staniforth is strong in the challenge. Mace now has it for Leicester. Deanne Rose has got space here. Can she get the shot away? Well, she did, but Patton came flying through to get the block in. Deanne Rose aiming for that minimal gap between D'Angelo and the near post, but Patton was determined. Her goalkeeper was not going to be troubled and knocks it behind for the Leicester corner. In it comes from Mace towards the penalty spots. Darley clears it. And Leon, you did not want to see in this sort of position, because she will keep running and running and running. Here goes Adriana Leon, and she is forced wide by Ale, who covered really well. Leon plays it back to Nobbs. Staniforth, and in the end, the shot is never troubling Leipzig. From Daly. Goodwin does really well. Finds Tierney in the middle of the park. Tierney shifts it to Ale on the right-hand flank. And she finds Rose ahead of her and makes the run through on the underlap. Rose into the area. Tierney could only send it skywards. I won't mention the score because I know people will want to catch up with highlights later, but of course, as I mentioned at kickoff, the 2 other teams who are yet to win this season meet this afternoon too, and a game that kicked off at the same time as this one, Everton against West Ham. So it is possible, depending on what happens there this afternoon, that either of these teams could find themselves at the bottom of the table this afternoon. They both, as things stood at kickoff, had better goal differences than both West Ham and Everton, who were also on 1 point alongside these two. Here's Leon. Oh, lovely work from Adriana Leon. And she takes a shot on, and it's a good save by Leipzig this time. The other two were comfortable saves from distance. Leon from a tight angle here, but she was close in and drilled it high towards the roof of the net. Leipzig had to be really alert to palm that one over from Adriana Leon. Villa take a short corner. Darley to Staniforth. Staniforth pulls it back. Knobs with the shots. It's cleared by Howard and Tierney together. Villa coming on strong now. Leicester started this half in the ascendancy, but since the substitutions, Villa now have the greater attacking intent. But Robinson gives away the foul against Mace. And Ale, who celebrated this week her first call-up for the Philippines international team. Congratulations to her, Asmita Ale. Nobbs plays it out to the right-hand side. Casey Robinson. Robinson brings it through. Oh, and it almost comes through to Daly. Well, of course, sorry, my mistake. Maz Pacheco this week. Congratulations to Maz Pacheco, who won her first call-up for the Philippines. Jordan and DR Congo, they're going to play at the end of October. It's wonderful to see her get that call-up. Leipzig here for Leicester. She's been a great signing since joining on loan initially the season before last. Mace lays it back, and it's now with Nevin. Staniforth, who came on to offer a new balance to that Villa midfield a few moments ago. I think the changes that Robert De Pauw's have made an impact, because Leicester were in the ascendancy at the beginning of this second half, but Villa appear to have got a foothold in the game again. Rose looks to get on the end of this ball from Ale. And it's knocked out of play by Turner, and there's going to be another Leicester change. As Janice Kyman comes on for Leicester, replacing Missy Goodwin. Well, she celebrated her 36th birthday yesterday, did Janice Kyman. A player of vast experience with 151 caps now for Belgium. And she was a real goal threat for Leicester last season. Bit of a surprise to see her on the bench this afternoon. She'll hope to still be going strong, will Kyman, at Euro 2025. Should Belgium get there, they've got the first round of playoffs at the end of this month. Parker with the ball in, and it's clutched out of the air by Leipzig. And Daly is on the turf and just needs a little bit of time to recompose herself. She's going to be okay. So can either of these Midlands rivals seize the initiative in the closing 20 minutes? Leicester have made it beyond that danger time when they've conceded opening goals in and around or just after half-time in each of the previous 3 WSL matches. This is the longest they've managed to go without conceding a goal this season. They play Everton at the King Power next weekend in what's going to be another game against the team that's started the season finding it hard to pick up points. And then after the international break, it'll be Brighton away for them at the start of November. So a little mini run of not having to play the really big sides in the division. And in some ways, you wonder if both managers will just be happy to pick up another point this afternoon. You've got to be looking to beat your rivals, really, the teams around you. But also, there's always that fear in the back of your mind that you're going to lose to your rivals. Parker has Maritz on the right, but she goes inside instead to Leon. Patton carries it down the middle of the park and now spreads it out to Maritz with the deep cross, comes through to Darley. Hale with the clearance towards Rose. Drops to Howard. And out of play for the Villa throw. Robinson inside to Darley. Darley's knocked to the turf and wins Villa a free kick. Quarter of an hour plus added time to play. Villa had the greater of the first half. Leicester the better of the opening period of this second half. But Villa on top again now. The deadlock yet to be broken though. And it comes from Darley and it's almost turned in by Patton. Oh, the goal was gaping. Lovely ball in from Darley. And Patton almost headed it onto her knee, I think, and wide. So close. Just couldn't connect. What a chance for the hosts. Leon. Darley going to have a crack. Well, Mace did really well to slide in. It falls to Robinson. Rose now looks to carry it away for Leicester, but she's penalised for a foul on Turner. Villa free kick. Nevin. Mace. Ale. Oh, lovely ball through to Rose. Can Rose pick out a blue shirt? Daly to Robinson. Staniforth. Oh, gives it away to Rose. Deanne Rose moves forward at pace. Turner tries to push her out wide. Still Deanne Rose. Lovely ball towards Tierney. Tierney's got Mace lurking on the edge of the box, but couldn't pull it back far enough. Kynan. Takarada. Leicester looking dangerous here. Almost deflected back towards Nevin. Is it going to be a game that one goal will settle? Approaching the final 10. Patton to Parker. And Mace wins it back off Parker. And finds Mamiki. Oh, Mamiki's caught by Staniforth. Free kick to Leicester. And Staniforth is booked. Leicester getting ready to make another change. And it looks like it's going to be Mamiki who just won that free kick. Coming off, and Emilia Pelgander, the Swedish midfielder, on in her place. So Emilia Pelgander makes her third WSL appearance of the season, all from the bench. In place of Yuka Mamiki, who just won this free kick, which Nevin and Mace stand over. In it comes from Nevin, but it's too deep. Well, in fact, it did cause a few problems for D'Angelo. She wasn't taking any chances as Nevin swept it towards that far post. Howard was charging in, and D'Angelo palms it behind, and it'll be a Courtney Nevin corner. Into the final 10 plus added time at Villa Park. Which of these teams might just get the crucial goal to bring them their first WSL win of the season. Is there going to be a late breakthrough for Leicester? In comes a corner, headed away by Daly. Still alive in that area. And the ball had just gone out of play on this near touch line. Maritz to Staniforth, he went in the book moments ago. Foul and a free kick in Villa's favour. Patton takes it quickly to Parker. Leicester rarely gets anything against Aston Villa in the WSL. They did get a point last time they met on Villa territory back in March. That their first point in 6 meetings after 5 defeats. Daly, so often the woman who scores against them, 5 goals and 1 assist in her 4 games for Villa against Leicester. Villa won the first ever meeting back in September 2021, 2-1. Did the double that season with a 2-1 win away from home the following January. Then in 2022-23, Villa with 2 wins again. Another double, 2-0 and 5-0 that time round. And then last season, a 1-0 win for Villa away from home in January. And then that 2-2 draw in March, the first time that Leicester managed to get so much as a point from Villa. Are they going to get at least another this afternoon? Pelgander finds Tierney. Tierney tries to feed Rose. Rose looks to surge away from Turner. Still Deanne Rose. Rose flicks it into the path of Pelgander, who just couldn't connect. And it trickles through to D'Angelo. It was a decent opportunity, actually. A lovely ball into the box from Rose. And had Pelgander managed to hit that hard and true, it really would have caused some trouble, you would have thought, for the Villa keeper. As it was, it rather came off her shin. Patton. Still Patton moving into space. Daly with the layoff to Darley. Kyman prevents it coming through to Robinson. Throw in for Villa. Patton. Parker to Nobbs. Parker tries to play it through the middle. It's cut out, but Villa win it back. Parker now to Patton. Kyman does really well to tap the ball away from Robinson, but Robinson has it back. Robinson runs at the Leicester defence and sends the low ball towards Daly. Drops to Staniforth. Leicester being pushed really deep now, but there's always that danger of a late counter. Leon though for Villa. Still Adriana Leon up against Ale. Nobbs to Darley. Darley returns it to Nobbs. Nobbs with the high hanging cross, and it's headed away by Kyman once more. Drops to Staniforth. Heads it back to Leon, who turns it almost poked goalwards by Daly, and Howard gets the block in. Villa coming on strong in these late stages. Desperately seeking the goal that could well bring them their first win of the season. Darley. Still Kenzadali. Patton to Parker to Turner. Staniforth. Staniforth gets the cross in and it's just over Daly's head. Robinson tries to play it back to Darley. Nevin gets the foot in. Takarada is forced to just knock it out of play hurriedly, and it's a Villa throw. This game beautifully poised, because as likely as Villa seem perhaps to turn this possession into a goal, you could easily see Leicester breaking. But Robinson's got a bit of space. Robinson pulls it back. And Leicester scramble it clear once more. Parker. Turner. Leon. Well, Leicester didn't have the players forward to turn that into a counter. There was no option, and it's going to come straight back at them. Harmlessly out of play for a Leicester throw. Darley feels that came off a Leicester boot. I think that was an appeal more in hope than anticipation. And Leipzig down here. 90 seconds plus added time to play. Well, unless there's late drama here at Villa Park, it's going to be a point apiece. And just how important is that going to be at the end of the season? Is it going to be a valuable point, or is it going to be a case of 2 points dropped? We perhaps shouldn't make assessments this early in the season, but there are only 22 games in a WSL season, of course. And at this early stage, these two teams might be among those struggling to stay in this division. Plenty of time for things to change over the next few weeks. But we are now nearly 4 complete games into 2024-25. And both these teams still searching for a first league win of the campaign. It might yet come in the added time that we're going to get for either of these teams. There's time. But so far it's been another frustrating afternoon. 5 added minutes to play. Strapping applied to the thigh, the right thigh of Janina Leipzig. Patton. Robinson keeps it in. Kaiman gets the foot in. Maritz with the throw. Back to Maritz. Nobbs dinks it over the top towards Daly. Drops to Patton. Patton gets a shot and it deflects, and Daly with the overhead. Spectacular but well high and wide. If anyone can do it, it's Rachel Daly, but couldn't quite execute on that occasion. Patton back to D'Angelo. Halfway through the 5 added minutes. It's been pretty much all Villa this last quarter of an hour or so. Albeit they haven't unduly troubled Janina Leitzig. She did have to have that strong palm to keep out Leon from a tight angle. Patton has got a bit of space here to get the cross in. In it comes from Patton. Ale with the clearance. Drops to Darley. Darley with the low shot. Howard with the block. Well, she's been a rock at the heart of that defence, Sophie Howard. Villa fans trying to urge their team on in this closing 90 seconds. Leon. Adriana Leon with the floated cross towards Patton. Patton with the header on to Robinson. Robinson pulls it back. Flicked in by Maris. It's going to drop to Patton. What a save from Leitzig. Well, that is worth a goal. A stunning stop from the German goalkeeper, Anna Patton, from point-blank range. Maritz drops it on the volley and wide. From Jordan Nobbs on her 194th record-extending WSL appearance. Got over the ball, kept it low, but couldn't keep it on target. Well, Leitzig possibly with the most important touch of the entire match in the 5th minute of added time to thwart Anna Patton from the edge of the 6-yard box. Stunning reflex save. Yes, Patton kept the shot far too close to the keeper, but still, what a stop. Is there yet one more final chance for Aston Villa? Leon tries to get away from Ale. And the whistle goes against Ale for pulling the shirt of Leon. And there is going to be probably one last chance from this free kick. Villa need to get it into that area quickly. Is Leitzig's save from Patton going to be the defining moment, or is there even later drama at Villa Park? Kenza Darley, right hand aloft. So often it's been the Darley-Daly combination. Darley with the free kick in. Robinson. Robinson gets a little space from Nevin and gets across towards the back post. Headed down, drops to Staniforth. And Leicester scramble it clear, and they have worked so hard for that point. But still, these two teams, well, in fact, has the final whistle gone? Or has the referee? Yes, it has. For a moment, I just wondered. The reaction from the ref seemed to suggest there was going to be a drop ball or a free kick, but the final whistle has gone at Villa Park. It is honours even, but frustration for both teams still, because 4 games into this season they are yet to pick up a win. It is, though, a second valuable point on the board. At Villa Park, it's ended Aston Villa 0, Leicester City 0. And let's look back on a game which grew in entertainment value throughout the afternoon. Chastity Grant was thwarted early on by Takarada, a vital block from her. Jordan Nobbs with the pile driver from distance straight at Leipzig. Howard's header into the side netting. Staniforth teeing up Daly from distance. And Leon did really well to work this opportunity for herself. Leipzig palming it over the bar. Maritz with the cross in which Nobbs volleyed wide. And the teams could not be separated. Aston Villa have to face Manchester City away next weekend. Leicester are going to take on another of the early season strugglers, Everton, at the King Power Stadium. Both Robert De Pauw, the Villa manager, and Amandine Mikel, the new Leicester boss, are still seeking their first WSL win. But perhaps there is something to build on. A valuable point at Villa Park this afternoon. Thank you for joining us, where it has finished Aston Villa 0, Leicester City 0.